Hello, and welcome to Season 2 of Super Pros Bros. I'm Player 2, Eli, and with me, as always, is...
Player one, Ike, and Brosie O'Donnell. Did you know that this pod is on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify?
Alright, and now, Bro Jiden, are those the same places the good people could
Like,
comment
share?
and subscribe?
I kind of think it is.
How about that?
Well, how about was your trip? I fucked that up.
Just how about your trip?
There you go.
Come
Yeah,
on,
that
man.
redacted. That's what I said
Oh,
the first time.
is
You
that what
all
you
heard
said?
it.
Ah, that's what the people heard.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was very low key. I got to go hang out for about a week in Germany. So we spent a few days in Cologne and a couple days in Hamburg. Um,
Did you
it
try any of
was
their cologne or hamburgers?
so I did have a hamburger in Hamburg.
Was it?
It's good. It was a pretty good spot.
I was really hoping it was a sandwich with just a ham sandwich.
Now, so I actually looked into the etymology of hamburger, and it isn't exactly tied
No,
to
it's not.
Hamburg. So it
It comes
looks
from the
like
U.S.
kind of. So it looks like originally that like the kind of mashed beef patty
Mm-hmm.
on bread was a very popular like Jewish food.
Sure, checks out.
Yeah, so there was a airline from Hamburg to New York, and it was such a popular item they started serving it on the plane. It got known as the Hamburg steak.
Oh, wild. I did not know that.
So it was very popular. So like New York street vendors started selling it too.
Oh,
That
cool.
that is that is as far as I could tell after a little bit of searching where that comes from. So it's
That's
not like
neat.
directly out of Hamburg,
Yeah, yeah. No, but
but
it is
yeah.
because of it. That's so cool.
Um, and again, I could be wrong, but like
Who
someone
fucking
said it's
cares?
like we it got into a discussion between me and my friends as we talked because someone goes like comes from South Dakota, and we're like, what? So we looked into it, and that was the most agreed upon rationale we could find,
Mm-hmm.
like early 1900s, basically, um, or like mid 1900s, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, so that and in Cologne went to like a chocolate factory, which ironically was making Swiss chocolate because it was a Lindt uh, installation, which I was like, strange. Um, I had some banger chocolate there. Um, and yeah, it was really low key. It was pretty fun. Had some good beer. Uh, had a lot of sausage. Honestly, I don't want to do Germany dirty. Their food really isn't super. It's fine. It's a lot of meat and potatoes. Like that's
Yeah.
German food is really basic.
Yep.
Like it's
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 like it's
fine.
done pretty well though, right? It's not.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's like you're not getting
No,
fucking crazy highbrow,
no.
highfalutin, fancy
That's
shit.
that's where
You're
you go
not.
to. That's where you go to France for.
Yeah, that's what France is for. You get a lot. I think you get a lot more like culinary novelty in like Spain, probably.
Yeah, I
Like
think when you get
Germany.
into the southern more
That
states.
being said, the best food I had on our trip probably.
Mm.
Um, I was saying we should just fucking duck into a restaurant at Artemis when we were just walking around Cologne after we went to the chocolate factory. And Artemis is like, no, we are going to like. She's like, no, we're gonna find a fucking like a food cart or a street vendor, something like that.
Mm.
I'm like, you fucking kidding me, Artemis? Like we're walking by all these places. And she's like, no. I'm like, fine. Like I can't. I'm not gonna
This is
fucking
the
force.
life I've chosen.
Yeah, like I could maybe brute force you in, but that's just not gonna work well. Fuck it, whatever. And we found this like just random little hole in the wall, almost literally, um, like food cart kind of thing, and fucking delicious. And like,
What was it?
it's standard German food. Like I got currywurst there, and he fried the fries fresh for us. Um, it was really good. Like, it was fucking delicious. It was the best currywurst sauce I had while we were there.
Yeah,
Also,
that one can kind of, in my mild experience with currywurst, the sauce can be very
I mean,
divergent.
all the currywurst is for those out of the know, is it's bockwurst with like kind of a tangy ketchup with curry powder in it. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
But like, I mean,
total.
I don't know about how many you experienced, but I've experienced like three or four of them, like different ones, mostly here in the U.S. And they have been quite different. Some have been very good. Some have been very like,
Yeah, the first one I got, the sauce was way too sweet. It was just too sugary. It's just like, oh God. But his was just fucking. Mm, mm, it was the best meal I had in Germany, I think. I said
nice.
like maybe we went to a tapas place when we were in Hamburg because we met up with a friend there and just fucking sat around and ate and talked for like 2.5 hours. We were there for a
Nice.
long fucking time. Um, and we were actually in like the seediest part of Hamburg. Dude, we got so as we're fucking on the train, we're trying to find a hotel, and what a fucking scam we went to. Holy shit, this place sucked ass. Like the room itself was serviceable.
Sure.
Like it was small, but it's like it's got a bed, it's got a tiny little desk in the corner, and like a little closet. And we had Artemis had the smart idea to drop our luggage at a place and go pick it up because she had a fuck ton of stuff
Yeah.
from like picking up gifts for people and things like that. So we just had these massive fucking suitcases. If we had taken them with us, we would have like no room in this fucking little rinky-dink room to move. Thank God. Anyway, so we go there. So okay, but like the bathroom was tiny. It like my college dorm room had a bigger bathroom, and that shit
Damn.
sucked.
Yeah, I remember
Like
that one.
it's yeah, White Pine had a substantially larger bathroom. Like
Jeez.
you couldn't open the shower doors all the way without hitting like cabinets and shit. Yeah, like if you swung it open, you would have made it explode. And like it was in basically this downtown. It was fucking seedy as shit. It was so seedy, and like the place claimed to be soundproofed. It was not. I could hear people on the stairs at the bottom floor. It, it was the least soundproofed fucking room I've ever been in. It was such a scam. So we like left a day early and just fucking trained over back to Frankfurt and slept the night before we get so getting into the airport and leaving Friday was super easy, which is good because German trains are kind of dumb and always behind schedule.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm. They literally every train we took in Germany was behind schedule.
Wow. Knowing
Like
Germans, talking to Germans, talking to people that travel in Germany, I think you had a very
that is common apparently. Talking to
wow.
like to the people like the person we talked to who lived in Germany who went to meet Hamburg, they're like, yeah, no, fucking German trains are always behind schedule.
I have a friend that I've played Magic with for a bit now. Lives in Germany. If I said that to him, he might like unfriend me. So that's fucking hilarious. That like one of their like claim to fame is like that they're very industrial, they're very on time, very
Oh,
dependable.
listen, the quality of their
Oh
stuff
no 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 yeah
outstanding.
yeah yeah. But like the fact that like
Their fucking timetable on trains was dog shit.
yeah, that's so funny. Before he left, so the person I'm talking about played a Magic tournament in Minneapolis with. Before he left, he made fun of how our planes left at these odd time, like 9:17 or whatever. He's like, look at German plane schedules. They always leave at 8. They always, and like blah 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 blah. And like he went on like a rant about it.
Motherfucker, no, they do
Yeah,
not.
I know it's fucking hilarious now that you're saying.
Okay, also, now having gone through an airport in Germany a couple times, no, they don't. They leave at weird times too.
That's awesome.
Motherfucker, shut up. Um, otherwise, got back. Been a bit of an adjustment back to normalcy, and yeah, so trying to figure out what exactly I'm gonna do moving, because we are gonna be out of this apartment by the end of the year.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly what that means for us. I don't know what kind of job I'm gonna end up getting. I have to fucking resubmit an application to take my stupid PMP exam because it got denied the first time for dumb bureaucratic bullshit.
Okay. I was like, didn't you pass it or?
No, I haven't gotten to take the test yet. So you put
Oh.
in an application, and it got
Oh.
like
Okay.
it got audited and reviewed, and they're like, we can't tell that you've actually been a part of project work because you basically it sounded like you used a job title instead of an actual project title, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what would you like me to call myself? you fucking monkey. I'm sorry, but like, who do you think does the project work? We don't have a fancy title. I'm not managing the project. I was on the team working on part of the project.
Yeah.
What do you want me to call myself other than my fucking job title? What are you fucking looking for, you chimp? And like the other thing they talked about is like, you didn't provide the deliverables or the scope of the project. I'm like, yes, I fucking did. I was like, you know what this is? This is to create all of the framework for a new model of truck. What about that is unclear. Where do you need specificity, motherfucker? You fucking chimps. Dude, if there was a different organization that offered this certification, I would fucking jump ship immediately. But there isn't. I looked. I tried my best to find one. Because I do not understand how these mongoloid motherfuckers operate. And like I tried to rationalize with people that I'm like, listen, if you think I'm gonna fucking fail, let me take your goddamn test. Then you get my money. Like I'm the fucking Fry meme just screaming, shut up and take my money, and they're like, no. Oh, you morons. So I'm very frustrated with this process,
Could not tell.
evidently. So I'm probably going to submit an application, and if it gets denied again, I'm probably going to say fuck you and just suck up the loss for taking the course and be annoyed I wasted fucking 2 weekends doing it, um, and figure out something else to do. And the upside is we're not hurting for cash right now. So.
Yeah.
And Artemis wants me to leave my job because she's like, she listened in on like a work call I had the other day. She's like, holy fuck, you people are petty. And I'm like, yes, they are. They are stupid.
They're petty. It sounds like you might be miserable.
Yeah, it's like I don't like my job. It's very very banal and boring and tedious and stupid. And there is there is nonsensical policy for the sake of nonsensical policy. It's such clear like micromanage and control, and it is unfeeling and uncaring in many ways. And my new manager is feeling more and more like a corporate yes man than an
Mhm.
actual approachable human. I'm like, God damn it, Dylan. Like, which is very sad because my last manager was a dude from Mexico who just he actually gave a fuck about his people.
Oh no, he transferred out.
Yeah, he got I think he kind of basically went up a rung and got to a place of more influence, which more power to him.
Because this is the guy
God
that
bless.
wanted to like make a ping pong room or something, right? What are you
Yes,
talking
he
about?
like made all our meetings in the basement so he could justify going and playing ping pong to like, have something that wasn't work related to get us to bond. He's the guy who ran me a fucking O2 meter when I had COVID and was getting my ass whooped.
I
Carlos was the shit. I would do things like if that guy asked me to do shit for him, I would do it drop of a hat. I love Carlos. Carlos is a phenomenal human being who is the only guy who said I want to treat my people like family and did.
yeah.
God bless that man. I love that man. He's a wonderful human being.
Glad he went up around. He's sad. You
Yeah,
lost him.
sad I lost him.
Yeah.
But he was the best boss I had. I liked Lindsay. She was kind of hands off because she was between two positions, so I understand. But she really seemed to give a shit about people,
Hmm.
which I like. I like Lindsay. Like she heard I want to leave, and she's like, before you go, I want to have a beer with you. She's
Aw.
like, you don't get to leave without us getting a beer or something. I was like, you're good people, Lindsay. Uh, and like my manager, who at this point is retired, I was totally fine with because basically her approach was like, you do your job. I don't give a fuck what else you do. I
Hmm.
was like, fair, reasonable.
But this numpty jackass that you're under right now, not so
Yeah, like
much.
the thing was like he talked about people kind of abusing working from home. Like if you're not feeling well, you have to take a sick day. It's like, really? Like we're gonna be this
So
petty?
fucking stupid.
It's like if everyone has a laptop, who the fuck cares? And it's like basically we heard that other people are narking if people aren't there. I'm like, God, Jesus Christ, it's so silly. It's like, come on, man. Like, and then in the same like 2 sentences later, he talks about how we can talk to him about anything, and I'm like, really? You went from Gestapo to fucking neighbor real quick.
So fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's just nonsense corporate shenanigans. So Artemis wants me to get the fuck out, and I do want to leave.
Yeah, it's like it sounds like you're not on a different page.
No, I'm not as. There's a part of me that likes. I'm like, I don't like it. I do like health insurance.
It's really important.
Yeah, like
I
there's
didn't
just
realize until this year that you get charged money on your tax returns if you didn't have health insurance for all 12 months.
huh,
At least in California. I don't know how it is in Seattle.
I have no idea. Um, I've never had to think about it. So yeah, so it's like there are certain perks and upsides. It's like but like
Are you
probably by the
looking
end of
at?
November.
Are you guys looking at staying in
No,
Pacific? Oh, okay.
well, Pacific Northwest maybe like maybe move to Portland, but like
Okay.
or like probably Portland or Denver are the two candidates.
No, sounds
So
groovy. I love both those cities. I would gladly visit. Um, but that's likely at the end of this year that
um,
you're going to one of those two.
probably. I mean, it could be earlier. Things could happen.
No, 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 yeah, yeah, but like at the end of this year, you will not be in Seattle. It sounds like
Yes.
sick. Congrats. So in my little sector of the world, last we talked was September 4th. I was still very much preparing for the Magic World Championship, which I've come back from not empty-handed because they give you all $4,000 for showing up, and that's exactly how much I left with. It was, I think, if not my worst, close to my worst performance in
Oof.
a tournament. Yeah, it's a bummer. Also, turns out when the competition is the best on the planet, it's also one that, while such a bummer, it also makes sense how it happened. When you play against the best, getting wrecked is a very easy thing to visualize, especially when, while I am good, I am not great yet. Very much still a work in
Like
progress.
how much was it? Also, do you just like have bad draws or just misplays?
Um,
We'll call me. We'll call B.
yeah, there was a couple of mistakes I definitely did. One of the mistakes I did, and some of these I learned from, and some of these were just oops.
Yeah.
I needed to get more sleep, and I like running up to it. I was only sleeping 5 hours a day, and then day of I only slept 5 hours, so it was just like I was just under rested, and some of my play reflected that.
Hmm.
Um, and one of the reasons I was under rested is because instead of staying in a hotel, I stayed at a friend's place, which is smart for the money. Saving a couple, $100 instead of like renting, a hotel room. That seems smart. The only issue is I took over a week off to go to this. I spent probably 100 plus hours preparing for this. At a
Sure.
certain point, you got to be consistent on what you're doing and what the expectation you want is. And that
Hmm.
is a great expectation to do on a trip where sleep and like you're trying to save money. And saving money is
Hmm.
good. But if you've invested all this time and all this energy, maybe stick to that and
Yeah.
kind of back that play as opposed to trying to save money. And so while I do love my great friend JPEG and I love that he allowed us to stay there for basically nothing, it also came at a cost and is something that I won't repeat. So lesson learned there.
Sure.
Another lesson I learned was after I made a couple of good decisions in testing, and there was a deck that I put a lot of hours in, but I wasn't feeling comfortable. And there's this old rubric. I might have told you this. I definitely told this to a million friends when preparing for medium to big size tournaments for them. And obviously, this is the biggest in the world. But for like going to back when Grand Prix used to be a thing, I would say to friends that are coming with me, it's like, all right, they're like, when they're trying to decide which deck to play, I'm like, choose whatever deck you mind losing the least with. Because mathematically, you're going to lose. That's the way, like, to do well in Magic, your win percentage in any given tournament has to be astronomical. You have to
Yeah.
be running good and playing great. And that's not going to happen that frequently, especially for people that are kind of like, well, what deck should I choose? When people are asking that question, they are usually not of the higher echelon, no offense. And so you're most likely going to lose, and that's fine. But I asked myself that question when I was trying to get this deck to work, and I just couldn't, and it was giving me like mental anguish. And I asked myself that question for the first time ever, really. And I was like, oh, if I go to this tournament with this deck and have the likely experience of not succeeding, considering I'm playing against the best players in the world, and it's Magic, I'm going to like be in search. The way I put it to a friend is, I'm gonna see the bottom of the Grand Canyon faster than anyone's ever seen it before. and a couple other colorful ways of communicating that. So I decided to not play that deck, and the second I decided to not play that deck, I've never felt it, it was like a wave. It just like it went over me. I'm not going to say it was like sex, but it wasn't that far off. It was just this wave of relief. I was like, oh, I don't have to do that. Oh, and it just felt so good. It was so calming because I was so. I had a friend who was preparing. So I was preparing with the team. We were called Team Misfits, which is great.
I would say
And
that is actually an esports organization, which I find kind of funny.
lol. And one of my good friends was crushing with this deck. His win percentage was absurd,
Yeah.
and I was 2 steps forward, 3 steps back constantly, and I was like having panic attacks and meltdowns because of it. I was like, how am I not like? He's a good player, but I'm not that. If I'm behind him, it's not by that much. So what the fuck is going on? And I was just losing my shit. And the second I decided to not play his deck, I just calmed down, tried a couple other decks, found one that I liked, that the win percentage wasn't even that good, and it wasn't like, oh, I'll play this deck because it's whatever. Like this is where we are. I played the deck, played 10 matches with it online. I went 5-5, and I have never liked a deck more that I can recall in recent history. Just played it, and I was like, this fucking rocks. I'm not winning with it necessarily, but I love this deck, and I think it's good enough. I was like, cool, I'll rock this deck up. And that I think that decision was fine. The following decision was bad. Is I didn't then continue to test it enough, given my time. I didn't get familiar with how I was going to sideboard. I didn't get enough sleep. And so I kind of failed. After that, I didn't do the rest of the homework, which, again, lesson learned. And I learned it in such a catastrophic way, I think I won't forget it. Because going 1 win and 4 losses at the World Championship to get a quick exit was enough of a forever reminder that I think I'll do that. But
Bit of a kick in the knackers.
been a kick in the knackers. The lovely thing though is after this happened, I was there with two of my great friends, Kyler Martin and Dan Silver, and lost in the tournament, and just left the tournament area because it was fucking, I don't know why WotC does this, but right next to the World Championship, first place gets $100,000, best players in the world. You had this fucking screaming like Magic Con that was for hyper casuals, which love it. I'm glad they get a con. They should. They give WotC a lot of money. They love the game in a very different way than I do. Great.
Sure.
They don't need to be right next to each other because that might be the most divergent group of people. Full stop. The people on the right only play tournaments, will never play anything else but tournaments except playtesting for a tournament. The people on the left may have never entered a tournament. And it's like, why are they next to each other? You have the quietest group of people who are being respectful and trying their damnedest to the people that are just being bombastically loud because it's a con and they should be. But why are they right next to each other without a barrier? Like, I'm literally hearing like during the middle of a game. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's like not, guys, why is it there? So I left that area because, just wanted to get out of there because losing sucks, and I was feeling a little disheartened. And I sat downstairs, and initially when I lost, I was like, it kind of felt good because it was over, which I'm not happy that was my response, but I get why it was my response given the buildup, given a bunch of the circumstances. And just having it be done, because I kind of felt like I was a little fucked in a couple of regards, and I wasn't wrong. It was kind of nice just having it be over with. More therapy work on that later. But I went downstairs with my friend, and we just kind of sat down. And, we were talking, having fun, and it was slowly hitting me what had just, transpired. And really sinking in. I'm just sitting there talking with my friends. They're trying to be nice and respectful, which they are, and they're awesome. And I just, at one point, somebody said something, looked at me, I was like, huh? Look, sorry, man. I'm, off in a different land. There's a small chance I might just burst into tears in a second. Don't worry about it. I'm just, I'm feeling this. And it's hitting me. And I'm a lot proud that I was able to say it in that way and be that honest with them. And then the best part was they're like, hey, man, we're here for you. It's cool. And it's just like, it was so lovely. And I was so happy to have two of my best friends in the world just there and have them say that and understand it and be in the social climate and be with these great friends and have that moment. It was so fucking great.
Aw.
It was, yeah, it was really fucking sweet. And then somebody said something hilarious, and we laughed, and I didn't cry at all. And it was it was a great afternoon. We ended up going and gambling a bunch. Sadly, Kyler had the worst experience playing Pai Gow because this. I don't know what it is about Vegas. You've been to Vegas a bunch of times. Why are the dealers all retirees? Why are they all 80?
I.
Have
What's
you
funny is I have not had that much experience. That experience in Vegas.
really? Okay. Every
No,
time I'm at table games, I'm like, what
I've
is
had it
Crypt
like a little
Keeper
bit.
doing rolling the dice? Like, what the fuck?
I've had it a little bit, but like most of the time, it looks like the dude is like 40.
Okay. All the people at the casino we were playing at were like
Fucking
50
ancient.
plus. Just this old crone. Jesus Christ. She was dealing Pai Gow, and she drove me nuts because, like, to me, when I interact with dealers, for those of you that don't know, I was a poker and table games dealer for the better part of 15 years. Kind of my shit. I know what I'm fucking talking about. Been doing it a minute. It doesn't. I know all the ins and outs, and I love the needly banter that some dealers give because I kind of did that. But it's also like my lane. You know, just like that's
Yeah.
what I fuck with. You know, it's like if you're out with a somebody that has been a server for a long time and like you're at a table and the server kind of gives them a hard time or kind of like fucks with them a little bit, they're probably going to enjoy it depending upon like where they worked and the circumstance because that's what they're about. It's kind of like the next level graduation of being in the biz or whatever. So this dealer's kind of fucking with me and I'm jiving with it because it's to me it's somewhere between adorable and hilarious. And I thought she just kind of understood where I was at and was, like saw what level I was at and interacted with me at it. I was very appreciative of it. And then my friend sits down who has never played a hand. He's watched me play a little bit, is trying to figure it out, thinks he understands it. And I was like, hey man, she'll help you, I'll help you, this will be fine. Sadly, he sat down the what I call the horn, but at the other end of the table. So he's not next to me, which was probably a mistake.
Sure.
And she's trying to help him, but she's doing it with the same energy that she's messing with me with, where she's being pejorative and she's being like kind of fucky. Except he doesn't know that that's kind-hearted. If it was, I don't actually. The fact that she did it means to me that I don't think it was. I think I just got lucky, and I think she was actually just a shit dealer. And she like was being kind of rude. She was actually not good at dealing. She like multiple times opened up hands, and I'm like fucking. I'm like 4 Scooby snacks deep. Scooby snacks are now I'm trying to remember what's in a Scooby snack. It's melon liqueur. I want to say there's another liquor like Malibu, and then like pineapple juice and whipped cream. They're fucking delicious. They kind of creep up on you a little bit. They are lovely. They go down easy and don't hit too hard. But I'm like 4 of those deep on 5 hours of sleep, relaxing. I'm glancing at her hand and I'm setting it already. I like know what the hand is. And she's like, huh, and thinking, not like new dealer looking over the sheet, like, how do I set my hand? And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding? Like, it's taking her a while. I'm like, these hands are set automatically in my brain. And then she goes to help my friend set his hand. And the way she's doing it is kind of like a shitty mother from the 80s. She's like, let me see this. It's like, bitch, what are you doing? Let him set his hand. And if he sets it wrong or, she's like being very micromanaging, controlling, and rude. Like, you idiot. I'm just like, he's like, this is his second hand. And to top it off, she said a couple of them wrong. I'm like, bitch, like you can't take a player's hand and set it incorrectly. Like 101. Also, you have to like the most important thing as a dealer for specifically table games is you have to be able to teach somebody how to play the game in a nice way. That is dealer one. If you can't do that, you cannot be a dealer. Full stop.
Yeah.
That is like you have to be able to do that to progress in the system, and she couldn't do that at all. To the point where my friend like left. He's like, I'm done. I was like, I understand it. I was literally pacing around the table because I was so angry at her. And if the other players had left, which they didn't, they were just like playing. They were like boozing and like whatever. They didn't even see the problems. If they had left, I would have said to her face, "You're a bad dealer and you should quit. You should quit. Just retire. You're terrible." I was gonna say that to her, and not because I was drunk. I was just like, I cannot stand people that are like bad at jobs like this. It doesn't take that much to be a human being. Anyway, after that, had a great time, stayed at JPEG's, came back, got to play a game that I hadn't played in a long time. Did I ever introduce you to Laden Thinks?
No.
So Lot and Things is a great game to play with 3+ friends. Would highly recommend. Lot and Things is a game where you have two guessers and a subject. The subject is asked a question. Usually has a numeric. I think it almost always has to have a numerical value. So, for instance, one of the questions we asked on a previous version was, how many cactuses do you think are in the Nevada desert? The subject thinks, locks in their answer, and then the two guessers go back and forth, what is called, I believe, a Chinese auction. I hope that's not a racial term. And they set the number with going over. So, for instance, if we were playing, we have random subject. All right, how many, cactuses do you think are in the Nevada desert? And you go, all right. And the answer you're coming up with is what that subject thinks the answer is, not what the actual answer is. That doesn't fucking matter. Which is the best part of this, is you're playing a game that you don't have to do any research.
Yeah.
And so you go, okay, like 100,000 and over, and the person can take the under or reset the over line. So if you think a better number line, like what their guess is going to be over 100,000, you don't want to take the under, so you reset the line to be like 200,000 and over, and then I either can take the under or reset the line. And this goes on back and forth until somebody takes the under. We did this one while one of my previous trips to Vegas, and we're like, okay, it's this kid, and the best part is to play it with nerds, especially ones that are super passionate about one thing, and then ask them questions about not that thing, because their point of reference is zero, so they come up with the fucking best answers. We're driving through to Vegas from Sonoma County at the time, and we go, hey, Eric, how many cactuses are in the Nevada desert? And it's all right, got a number. And we go back and forth and we guess, and we put it like, I'm trying to think, I was like, somebody's like 1 million, or I'm like 1 million and over, and the guy goes, under. And I go, okay, Eric, how many you think? He's like, oh, it's got to be at least 1 billion, and we're in Nevada. I was like, look outside, Eric. He goes, okay. I'm like, you see any fucking cactuses? He's like, no. I'm like, exactly. There are no cactuses in the Nevada desert, dipshit. And that's the game, is kind of like fucking with your friends and making a game out of it. Highly recommend.
In Nevada, do you see any cactuses?
No. It was great. Anyway, came back. And then recently, so that was actually this last weekend, and so I was the newest qualifier season started for the next RCQ system, and I went to one yesterday and just won it, so still got it. And there's a bunch of funny stories that sadly no Magic person will get. Or no non-Magic person will get, so I will not trouble with y'all with those. But yeah, so still got it, and just not at the highest level yet. So anyway,
All right.
things that also still got it,
and some things that don't. So we have got to talk about. We had to do a lot of catching up. It's been a hot second since we've sat down and yammered. So thank you for bearing with us and indulging us. But what we're here to talk about is films from a bygone era. That's a little dramatic, but kind of older stuff. And we're talking about some that have aged surprisingly well, and some that have aged not. Like milk. And so we kind of broke it down into a number of categories, one of which being visuals, how it looks. So based on a couple of categories on whether or not the visuals hold up, whether or not their social perspective holds up, and we'll get into that. And if their content is how you say tone deaf, cringy as fuck, and more importantly, really tone deaf, and whether or not the humor still holds up and still works in kind of a modern day and age.
Which, if you don't mind, may I start there?
And I was say that is everyone likes a good lighthearted.
Everybody likes a joke.
So, take it away.
So, jokes are a thing that can be timeless and can be in time. However, obviously, the ones that are of their own time, that's fine. You know, they are of their own era. It's all good. Obviously, they're not going to age well, but we're not necessarily looking at those. We're looking at the ones that should be a skosh more timeless in the humor of American Pie. what is more timeless than kids, especially men, in high school? Well,
I don't want to say everything, but
uh, American Pie has just a heap of problems, other than just literally, like hazing, which sadly was an American classic, but thankfully is rotating its way out.
it's phasing out slowly.
Yeah, of just like assaulting your friends and being like, "Gotcha." I don't know about
It's
you, but
just a prank, bro.
yeah. Do you remember getting nut tapped in high school? Is that a thing that they were
I
still doing when you were in high school?
but not much in junior high. There was some dumb locker room shit. To be fair, I avoided gym class like the plague because I hated
Same.
locker rooms and I didn't want
Yep.
to be naked in front of people for
Yep.
showering. Still don't.
Yep.
But there was a thing in junior high because I had to take a gym class where you'd fucking walk by and just like aggressively scratch the top of someone's head and say my balls itch. That was the running gag I remember. In hindsight, kind of funny,
It's
but
funny,
really
but also
annoying.
painful.
It's also just annoying as shit.
Yeah.
I do. Sorry, quick note here. This was like eighth grade, so I'd started doing martial arts, and I remember like having almost a blackout moment, and just completely reflexively, I grabbed dude's arm and twisted and just jammed him into a locker. I just like smacked his head into the locker. I'm like, fucking leave me alone.
Well, we'll get to Revenge of the Nerds later. In
Uh,
American Pie, one of the humorous bits, oh so funny, is a character putting a camera in a room where he knows a girl is going to change to then send it to all his friends as a gag.
Yay, revenge porn.
Yeah. Hilarious. This poor. Also, she's foreign. Like, she's like a foreign exchange student. It's like, bruh. Like, what the fuck? There's also, the aggressive, like, oh, this guy doesn't like to use the bathroom at school. Let's put Miralax in his coffee so he has to shit at school. And just, giving him the worst possible time. Like, everything like that. There are some timeless jokes. The guy fucking apple pie is timeless. That's fucking hilarious. It's so stupid and so absurd and so teenage dumb. Fantastic. So stupid. I'm here for it. But all this other basically sexual assault, oh, it's hilarious, is like, what? No. And to add and go back a generation in this category, Animal House is again men, dumb, hilarious. And there are many great parts to that movie.
You threw up on the dean.
Throwing up on the physical humor of Belushi is not to be fucked with. That shit is bang city. The sexual jokes, on the other hand,
Sus.
not great. And to cap it off, if you watch the movie and want to cringe your brains out, just read the ending card where they have all the like wrap-ups of what the characters do after college and just look at the myriad crimes that are clearly meant to be giggled at.
Yeah. It's ugh.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look. And speaking of things that are terrible looks,
I mean, they look good. Visually speaking.
fair. We're not there yet, but they sure don't know how to read the room at this point. Classic. Start with the less ugly classic of Peter Pan.
Is it less ugly?
Listen, we'll get there. We'll get there. You know it's coming. They don't.
Fair.
Peter Pan has one really glaring problem, minus the kind of talk about abduction, which you could theoretically get into, but that's more speculative. However, the portrayal of Indians, or Native Americans...
I think you mean engines.
Yeah, Indians. Yeah, no, Jesus.
Many moons, red man.
Yeah, oof. Oh boy. Yikes. Yikes on trikes. It's
Turn them
just
loose.
like... It's just like, let's take a stereotype, ratchet it up to 12, and put it on screen. Huh.
Also, the fact that they are going with the visuals, they are literally red, is just
not like
sweet
not like
God.
they've got a good tan going. Like they're fucking Crayola red brick red.
Yeah,
Like
fire engine red.
Yeah.
And for those of you who think, wow, I was expecting, no, that's a shockingly good
It's not bad. It's pretty. It's closer than it ought to be.
Yeah,
It's
I might have liked
it,
that movie a lot as a kid. Not for
yeah.
that
Like
reason, to be
no,
fair.
to be fair, prior to this, I barely remembered it, and then like memories came back. Like, oh yeah. Uh, but that is the least egregious offender because the other one to bring up is Dumbo. Oh boy.
Oh, I never seen a horse fly.
Yeah. The crows. Whew, I mean, clearly done because Jim Crow laws.
But
Yeah, which, ha, what a good jape, hilarious, holy shit. Like, it's it's bad. Again, it's stereotypes ratcheted up to 12, and it's put in this. It's just like they don't do anything of value. They're constantly belittling people. Everyone in that movie sucks, and so it's just like, hey, let's also make the black stereotype also the worst. It's like, no, come on, like,
and
they,
just like it's at the tail end of the movie for no fucking discernible reason.
yeah, it's they're why, like, why? The way they have it is they're just bullying a fucking depressed child. It's like, no, come on, dude, like,
You know, the way
Jesus,
black people do.
yeah, clearly a thing that I should ascribe to black people. Like, oh my God,
Also,
no.
they're smoking cigars. They're like clearly meant to be vagrants. It's like, what
Yeah,
the fuck?
it's so bad. It's so bad.
We won the
Everything about
racist
that movie.
lottery. We got them all, boys.
Yeah, like it's just it like that is the biggest argument for Walt Disney hated black people. That you can just present it to the fucking jury like,
And
ah.
and the silver medal after the Jews, we got the darkies.
Yeah. It's just yikes. Like, and that's again, that's not counting the rest of the movie and like basically how you have people giving alcohol to children and the forced like separation and kind of parallels to like foster care and shit that are a nightmare. It's
Yeah, and then there's the musical numbers, which are an awesome nightmare.
yeah, some of the musical numbers slap and are it is
Some of them
the
slap you
song
into Nightmare Town.
yeah, well there's the drug one. There's also the one that's really good that is super depressing is the one the mom sings.
Oh yeah, no, it
It's
destroys your
so
heart.
good and so sad.
Yeah. Would you like to cry for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Have I got a song for you?
Yeah. Anyway, let's what's next?
So, kind of tagging on it earlier with the Revenge and the Nerds talks. When it comes to social perspective, especially the way men can treat women, and not as necessarily a joke. Although I guess Revenge of the Nerds is like, depending how you want to look at the scene, it could be a joke. Is the way men get to treat women in these older films as if it's
Zero consequences.
okay. I forgot one that I'd like to put on here. Actually, I'm trying to remember. Oh, it's I'll have to look it up when I'll hand you the reins on the latter half of this. So I can look at the
Sure.
third. So Revenge of the Nerds is just an all-time banger when geeks finally got to make movies like John Wayne got to sit the fuck down. And so we got these movies where the nerds were the heroes. They were the underclassmen. And they got to, fuck with the jocks and take what was theirs, including their women. Where future candidate from a good, this is kind of funny, he's in the opposite version of this, of the social perspectives, by the way. Do you know that? The guy
really?
yes. Uh, more at 11. So one of the main characters ends up wearing the garb that the jock would have worn going in.
He's wearing a mask.
Wearing a mask, goes a love tunnel,
Halloween.
and fucks, apparently in the best way ever, the like head cheerleader girl person. I haven't watched the movie thoroughly because it is rife with problematic things. And then afterwards, when unmasked, she's initially like, "Oh no, you're not who I thought you were, but you were better." It's like, motherfucker, what? No. I have never met a woman in my life that if that circumstance ever happened, I would believe for a moment her response would be, "Oh, it's okay. You were better with your dick." It's like, no, it would be, "Cops!" Like,
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna add a note. No, just no. For two reasons. One, nerds aren't known for their cardio.
Wow, that's where you're gonna go on this one.
I'm gonna
The
fucking
realism aspect.
yeah. I'm gonna listen. Just we're hitting problems with that. I'm just gonna throw that one out there. Just
Sure,
no. And also,
there's a lot
how
of
do you
wish
not
fulfillment
notice
going
the
on there.
how do you not notice the difference in size?
Maybe there were twins separated at birth.
Right, yeah. And if you don't notice the difference in size, surely you've got to notice the difference in how it feels. Like,
Classic men being idiots. A dick's a dick, right?
yeah, like there's some nuance to cocks. They're not the same.
Wow. Did not think you were going to take this line. Fucking amazing.
I mean, am I wrong?
No, but also didn't see that one coming.
It's just it's dumb.
It
It's
is
so
it
dumb.
is fucking dumb. While we're still in this category, there's also, basically every movie up until probably the 90s, and even then still some. But the other, like, huge offender, if not in the name of the characters, is James Bond. With his lovely first girl in Pussy Galore, which fuck me in the ear. Holy crap. This is the most man-named character ever. Like, there's no way that a woman was in the room when they came up with that. Or if she was, she definitely
Yeah,
didn't get to talk.
yeah.
And then there's the
It,
fantastic, cause he's the good guy and she's associated with the baddie. He with his majestic dick can turn her good and slap her into sex that she then likes. I'm sorry. It's such
no.
a man wish fulfillment that a guy can take a girl who is his physical equal, best her, of course, in a fight, and then fuck her, and then afterwards she's like, "Oh yeah." It's like, I'm sorry, assault into rape, and then she's doing the post-coital cigarette. Fuck off, Ian Fleming. Come the fuck on. Like,
I don't.
really though.
Yeah, it's especially I think the most egregious offender, at least that I've watched, is Sean Connery.
Just gotta give him a little slap.
Yeah, 17 no's and a yes still means
Yes.
yes. Like, there's I don't know that it was ever put to film, but like there's one of the Ian Fleming novels where basically he turns a lesbian straight. It's like that's not how that works.
Yeah, that checks
That,
out.
like listen,
Again,
you
male wish fulfillment to the max.
yeah, it's just huh, yikes on trikes. They've done a little better with Lady Autonomy, especially it's getting better with the Daniel Craig iterations,
Yeah.
but it still needs work.
So the last one that I forgot about until we got into this one, for any Clint Eastwood fans out there, and I am a big fan. I love the old westerns, but if you ever want to see something problematic, just watch High Plains Drifter, which is a revenge fantasy. So the circumstance is guy dies, basically comes back to life, or didn't quite die,
Hmm.
comes back and rights all the wrongs of the town, including the neighborhood hussy that,
I don't like where this is going.
oh, you're not gonna. Because, to show her what's what, he takes her in a barn and rapes her.
Hmm.
And he's the hero.
And this is the good guy.
This is the good guy. He's gotta right her wrong. He's gotta set her straight, with his amazing dick that she doesn't want, but she clearly needs. What the fuck? And that's like not late in the movie when you've grown to love him. That's pretty early on. It's just
Yee.
yikes.
Yikes. Yeah,
Well, go ahead, sir.
doesn't say it's how hard is it to miss the boat on rape's bad? Okay, like
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, to things that are problematic, but at least for less virtuous reasons, we go to our final horrifying category in
The
visuals.
visuals. So there's There's a long way. Computers have come a long way since late 90s, early 2000s. And
In size, if not anything else.
yeah, and there's a lot of evidence of that, notably in animation. There's a lot of things that still hold up pretty well. However, anything that was 3D rendered before the year 2005, oh mama llama. And if you think like Polar Express is bad and like the Uncanny Valley is uncomfortable and it's a bit rough around the edges, you're right.
Strap yourselves in, boys.
But it's not the worst.
Not by a
Reboot.
country.
Reboot is a good show.
Fucking
And
awesome.
it looks heinous.
It is tough.
It is hard to look at. It's uncomfortable. It's the child with a malformed head that has a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Like it's a monstrosity. It really is. But its writing is really good.
It's so ahead of its time and the ideas of what technology could do it's also it was a kid Saturday morning cartoon, if we're going to call it that. It was kid Saturday morning abomination that really had great ideas, great execution, good flow. It's fucking amazing.
It would have been served so much better if it had been drawn.
Yeah.
If it had been a standard 2D animation.
But then it kind of loses also its vibe too, because I think the 3D helped sell the idea of it being, because the idea, if I remember correctly, it's been a long time since I've seen it, is Reboot is set, you're effectively in the internet, right? You're
yes,
in
you're,
like
it's supposed to be like
in
the network essentially.
yeah. And I think I think they made a correct decision for the time, that being 3D, to sell the idea of being inside the internet or whatever.
I can see that argument.
That being said, it doesn't age for shit.
It would be if you remade this show now, it'd be so cool.
Reboot.
Yeah, reboot of Reboot. Make it happen. But God, it's hard to look at. Just look up a cursory image of the show and just go, "Whoa!" However, it's not the worst. I remembered one worse.
We dug deep and we found
we
hellscape.
dug and we found gold. Just the goldest turd ever. So there was so there's a couple of Sinbad, like not Sinbad the guy, but like Sinbad the fucking folk hero, high seas pirate, and one of them was Sinbad Beyond the Mist. I don't remember why I saw this abomination of a film, but I did.
Imagine if you blended Blender.
Yeah, imagine approaching Blender while on bath salts, and you get this monstrosity. It is.
If you ever need to feel good about your college video project, we will include a link below where you can go, oh, thank God, I didn't put this to air.
I didn't bring this to life. It's so bad. I can't stress how uncomfortable it is watching it. It does not obey It does not obey basic continuity and basic physics. That's how bad the animation is.
The laws of nature need not apply.
Yeah, it's like.
Do you want your character to walk from point A to point B? How about if he walked on top of the air on top of the sand? Do you want him to talk? Would you like part of his mustache to vanish while he talks?
That's it. Listen, we can't move a mustache and a mouth. That's outrageous.
It defies the laws of God to do such things. We must choose.
It's so bad. I really like. I think that's the peak. Like it had some budget and it was actually fully produced. Like
it went to air. It was shown on television.
Yeah. It wasn't just in some dude's attic. Like it was produced and distributed. So people bought it. People paid money.
I'm gonna die. Hold on. I need to look up if this had a second season.
It wasn't a. I think it was just a movie. I
think it's a TV show. No.
I thought it was a movie.
Hold on. I'm gonna look this up. Sinbad Beyond Veils of Mist. Oh my God. The poster's in 2D, which just makes it worse. Because then you look at it and you
Yeah, it's
scream
so
bloody murder.
blocky. It looks like somebody got a fucking RuneScape.
Oh man, and the voices they put on this turn. Oh my god, I didn't see the voices. It does look like this was a movie though.
Yeah.
So, the cast on this abomination. For Sinbad, we've got Brendan Fraser.
Oh
For
my god, it is
Akron,
Brendan Fraser?
for Akron, we have Leonard Nimoy. For King Akron, we've got John Rhys Davies, aka Gimli. For Captain of the Guard, we've got Mark fucking Hamill. We've got
What?
Jim Cummings doing additional voices, and also doing additional voices. We've got Kevin Michael Richardson, who you know is the principal from fucking American Dad.
What?
We
Dude,
got a
the voice
cast.
cast bangs.
It slaps so hard.
How did they get suckered in? Did no one show them a picture?
I think they showed them the box picture, which looks like mediocre 2D pablum even for 2000.
What?
Jesus,
Fuck.
they put all the budget into getting the voices, and they forgot they needed to animate it. Holy
Dude, I did not
Christ.
remember the voice acting that banging. That's a hell of a cast. Like, that's still an awesome voice acting cast.
Yeah,
what
I
the
would
fuck?
snap that off for any project I could
Well,
ever do.
except Leonard Nimoy, I think he is unfortunately dead.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I mean, but goddamn, wow, wow, that voice acting does not match that animation. Holy fuck!
Makes it even more discordant.
Oh my god! Wow. All right. Um.
So moving on from such horrifying visages to ones that
Don't suck.
that will be loved for all time. Honestly, these ones that we've picked that are of around the same time frame, if not before, actually, because two of these are from well before that.
Yeah.
Just fucking kick ass. Take it away, Broskinkowski.
All right. The first up, and an example in why style is important is Wallace and Gromit. Oddly enough,
Yeah.
like claymation in many ways holds up very, very well. And in large part because you were at no point trying to ascribe any kind of photorealistic look to it. It is its own novel appearance. So
You
style,
can't, you can't base it off of anything when it's so much its
exactly,
own
because
zone.
people aren't made of fucking clay.
What?
Like, I know, outrageous. But like it's and just for that reason alone, it works really, really well. And it holds up over a much longer time. And it's like even the newer Wallace and Gromit that came out in like 2010 or something.
I think they're
Like,
making a new. I think there's a new Wallace Gromit thing in the wings too.
Cool. I liked the one in like 2010 or whatever came out.
The
It was a
Were
while
Rabbit.
ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I fucking slapped. Like I think it was great. And it had
Cheese Gromit.
it had like the exact same fucking aesthetic from like the was like late 90s cartoon.
The wrong trousers.
This is the wrong trousers. Yeah.
Fucking
Like it
banger.
like they didn't change anything. It's still the exact same look. Like I think the only thing that was really updated is like some of the background and set pieces are a little more detailed, but like the people identical.
Yep.
Like they didn't need to update it. Why bother? So it's like it still holds up.
Another one
You
that
know?
still holds up for me, all-time favorite, for a couple different reasons, is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out in
Boop, boop. Sorry.
1998. Nice. Starring the now deceased and awesome Bob Hoskins, and is one of, if not the first films that does animation with live action. Some people are thinking back to, oh, what about Bedknobs and Broomsticks? Oh, what about Mary Poppins? Those are technically done differently, which I found out they had different cameras for that. So I don't know if
Oh,
we want to
interesting.
compare it the same because they are not. So one of the things that separates them is that when they are interacting in those other two, Bedknobs and Broomsticks and Mary Poppins, they are not interacting with the animated creatures really. The animated creatures are on different plates and they are kind of, playing with them or next to them, but not truly too much interacting with them physically.
Yeah.
In Who Framed Roger Rabbit, you will notice that the animated characters hold real things. They are like the hyenas, jackals. Who are the
they're jackals, I think.
yeah, or no, weasels.
Weasels, yes.
The weasels are holding knives in real life baseball bats, and those are real. And the way they did that was they had puppeteers hold these, like, basically these green. They weren't in green suits, but they held these things on puppet ends that were going to
Hmm.
then have the animation put over with this one little bit that they are puppeting, the knife, the bat, whatever, which is hilarious to puppet a bat. Uh,
Yeah.
and then the real life people had to interact with them as if they were there. And I actually got very fortunate when I was going through film school. I got to, go to a talk and meet and shake the hand of Dean Cundy, who was the cinematographer for that movie, as well as Halloween and the first Jurassic Park. Awesome guy,
Hmm.
super nice, super warm. And he was talking about that movie, and one of the beauties of it is Bob Hoskins, who is a legend as far as I'm concerned when it comes to acting, was game as fuck for that movie because it was the first of its kind, and it took a lot of work. You're interacting with something that isn't there, but
There.
is a little bit, and you
Yeah.
have to interact with it and sell it. And he fucking, if you watch the movie, he sells the shit out of it. You
Yeah.
at no point do I watch that movie and go, they're not there. They are there as shit. They're fucking awesome. You also have one of the most awesome villain characters played by the legendary Christopher Lloyd, who rarely does villains, but when he does, holy fucking crap, run. It's banger after banger. It's also the only movie, I think, full stop, where you will ever see Mickey Mouse interacting with Bugs Bunny. Because this is a weird time before Disney was such a fucking crabapple when it came to licensing and dealing. So
Huh.
you have two different powerhouses in Warner Brothers and Disney,
Disney.
allowing both their characters to be on screen simultaneously and interacting. I mean, there's
Really?
the
Huh.
awesome scene of dueling pianos where it's Daffy Duck and who's the other fucking duck? Donald Duck, and they're
Oh, right. Wow. I didn't even think about the implications of that.
yeah, they're interacting. That's never gonna fucking happen again. Uh,
No.
and it's fucking also they're both being crazy villainous. Disney probably wouldn't let that happen again either.
No, no shot.
Yeah, like they're legit trying to kill each other while they're playing the piano. It's a fucking amazing scene. I would highly recommend just watching that. But it's so rare and it's so awesome, and it's just holds. Also, the story is just kind of fucking awesome. It also tells a really sad story in the mix, which is wild, of the death of the cable car in where I live now, Los Angeles, which used to be very prominent, especially when Los Angeles was a lot smaller. You used to be able to
Hmm.
take these cable cars around town, like on the city streets and stuff like that. And there wasn't need. There wasn't. This is like before the inner city highways were so prevalent, and so you just
Hmm.
didn't need them. But big business was like, how do we earn money? Oh, I know. We kill this good thing that serves the people for this thing that's going to make us a lot of money. And so they
Yeah.
killed the intent. They bought the cable car and killed it so that people would have to drive cars, have to buy oil, have to buy gas, have to be on their highways. Yay! But all the
Wow.
while, yeah, real true story, very fucked. However, you get to it. You don't feel like you're being preached to. It's something that's just happening in the background because this fucking amazingly made, hilarious absurdism film just kind of it tells you the story just in the background. And you don't even see it. It's fucking awesome.
Hmm.
Speaking of things that aren't in the background, last on this awesomely aged list of visuals we've got.
Uh, Toy Story. And it's kind of surprising because Toy Story was very revolutionary, but I think in large part because of early Pixar was very demanding. Like hearing some kind of behind the scenes on how very demanding they were of their animation and the animators and the drawing and everything. Like, because apparently I forget who it is, but like one of the big creative leads would basically look at what people made and go, "That's really cool. Can we do it a little bit better? Can we tweak this a little bit? Can we make this a little cleaner? Can we do very 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 bit of a perfectionist, and it fucking shows.
John Lasseter.
Thank you.
Don't look into anything else about him.
Oh no.
Yeah, there's a reason you
Oh.
won't see his name on many things anymore.
Rip. How quality control is real good though.
He's very good at his job. He was also very good at things that were not his job.
What, it got too involved in the extracurriculars. Okay.
Yeah.
Goddamn. Anyway, but it's still, you can look at Toy Story and it still looks good. Like its animations are still clean. There's no issue. Like the only thing I can kind of look at and go, that looks a little hinky, and I have to look for it, is the mouths. The mouths look a little bit weird.
That's your hang up? My hang up's the people. If you see the younger sister, it is horrifying.
Sid is a bit of a nightmare.
I was talking about the mom and I think Sid and Andy are fine-ish. They're a little rough. I mean, the movie's a little rough, but for when it was and what it was, fucking still amazing, and it's still good for today.
It still holds up surprisingly well.
Yeah, for being the first of its kind. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost it is almost as old as me.
Yeah.
Like it came out when I was 2.
This is 95. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It is almost 30 years old, and the fact that it still looks that like
if
I
only you looked that good.
I know. Goddamn. Like I didn't hold up nearly that well. Like, but if I could show that and not feel like a crazy person. If I said, man, I want to watch this movie when I was younger, and I showed fucking Sinbad, people look at me like I was on fucking acid. Be like, what's wrong with you? Like, I remember this being good. I swear. Like,
does Eli need to drink less, or do we need to drink more? What's happening here?
Yeah, seriously. Like, what's the secret? Are there fucking glasses we're supposed to put on for this? Like, And so the next topic we're gonna get into is social perspective, and it's
times they are changing.
Changing. So it's kind of hard to find shows that were necessarily ahead of the time in that regard.
Yeah.
But one of the few that actually stuck out to me was Will and Grace.
Oh yeah.
In large
gay
part,
before it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, you don't think about it, but if you go back to 1998. Not a good time for gay people. I mean, arguably, still not the best, but we're getting a lot, like, comparatively, I mean, again, almost 30 years ago, then compared to now, drastically different.
Yep.
But, like, I mean, this fucking predates shit like, RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yep.
This
RuPaul's Drag Race, The L Word, Queer as Folk.
Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Definitely Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a time where if you look back at the other shows that were being run on network television, they were using "he's gay" as a derogatory term or a joke.
Yeah.
Constantly. And nobody batted an eye.
Like, if somebody, like, I mean, if you wanted to insult a dude's masculinity, you just turned and called him a faggot.
Yep.
And people would see red for that shit. Like,
I remember when the show was on the air, we would play, in a church.
Smear the Queer?
In a church park after a function with other kids who were nice, loving, whatever, at the, for their time, we played Smear the Queer.
Yep. I remember it. Like, I still played it, and I'm a bit younger than you. So, it held on for a while.
Aww.
Yeah. Like, that was, 1998 was not a good time to be gay.
Nope.
Like, straight up. It wasn't. Especially men. Like, women could hide it easier.
Women could hide easier, and there was...
It was more socially acceptable.
It was more socially acceptable for a wrong reason, which is
for very much the wrong reason. But listen, I mean, I'm pretty sure that most women will go, we'll just fucking take it. Yeah. It's one of the few
I'm not going to get beaten in the alley as frequently.
Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, it was the first show that showed men kissing.
Yep.
Like, on network television. Bold. Like, goddamn. So it definitely earned its rep, and it showed, in many ways, it did both the kind of highlights of gay stereotyping as much as gay people just being normal fucking people.
It did a really smart thing, and I really respect this, where it played both sides of the line. You have two queer characters who are drastically different.
Yeah.
You have one character who is out and proud, which also was he's the guy in Revenge of the Nerds that fucks the cheerleader. Is Jack.
Oh my god, really?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Which is wild, knowing later that he's Jack. He wouldn't know what to do with a pussy if it had instructions.
No. Amazing.
So, in Will and Grace, you have Jack, which he's just Jack. And then you've got
he is straight as a rainbow. Man couldn't hide it if you gave him a disguise.
yeah. And then you've got Will, who thinks and occasionally tries to play straight. Some, like, depending upon which season you're looking at.
Yeah.
And both of them are gay, and both of them are great representations. They have great dichotomy, great interactions. It is one of the more perfect shows. And if you want to know even more about this than what we're going to get into, I will put this in the description below, is Matt Baum on YouTube. It has an excellent channel, an excellent series, and goes very in depth on what we're talking about with Will and Grace and other shows when it comes to being gay, especially ahead of their time, and looking at the queer theory through especially television.
Yeah, like one of the last thing I'll mention about the show is it is surprisingly well thought out, and some of the issues it addresses. Like at one point, Will wants to have a kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he talks to like Grace because Grace isn't comfortable. He's like, I can't do it without you.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you can just have a kid whenever you want. I need someone to help me because I can't.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa. It's not something you think about, but it's true. It's like he, in many ways, just because he's gay doesn't mean he doesn't want a family. So it's like it touches some of those really. That's a really real topic. That shit was on network television. That's crazy.
And because of groundbreaking shows like this, we got this. I think it was this last year's Bros, which was a great foray into, gay rom-coms that didn't have to play it turbo safe. Yep. I don't know if you've seen the movie Bros, but they
nope.
They went places.
They
did not. They did not hide the bedroom. Boys be getting busy. And while for somebody who is not gay, it was a bit of a parent watching a romance movie with their kid moment where it's like, oh, that's a lot. It's beautiful that this community gets to have a rom-com where they get to see it, where us straights out here have been having dudes fucking chicks for years in full graphic detail in, TV shows to movies with carte blanche. And now this community gets to because
it is only fair.
It is only fair, and it's beautiful that everybody gets their shot because of, groundbreaking.
Everybody gets their money shot.
Oh!
Hey! It's getting too serious.
All right, let's get back to racism. Blazing Saddles, am I right? Mel Brooks might be the GOAT, especially when it comes to making
satire
that just holds up.
So good.
You've got Blazing Saddles, you've got Young Frankenstein, you've got
Blue Hair.
It's just they're all bangers all the way down. He's so good, and especially with Blazing Saddles, this is how you get to do racism right. That's a sentence.
That's not wrong. It's a parody on the people who are intolerant and bigoted being stupid.
Love to see it.
Yeah, he just hard hammers that through line.
Yeah. And when you do it in a way that gives the underdog the benefit, you get to kind of have your cake and eat it too.
They are so dumb. Someone's gotta go back and get a whole shitload full of dimes.
The best is just, where the white women at? Forever that.
Rape, murder, arson, and rape. Said rape twice. I like rape.
And that's a good rape joke.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like, it's one of those movies that if the person hasn't seen it, you quote it like out of context, which is like, what the fuck? But if you know, you know.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I didn't get a harumph from that man. Give the governor a rumph.
Not only was that gibberish, it had heart.
The Camp Town ladies.
It's so like, not only does it have a fairly poignant message, it's still just funny.
Yeah.
Like, God, Mel Brooks shit really does just hold up so well. It's I don't know that we have much else to say on the topic of social.
No.
I'm gonna say social justice, but social cognizance. Uh, but there's some movies too besides Brooks where the jokes just they still kick. They're still funny. 'Cause Airplane exists. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the things that really is timeless in terms of joke is slapstick comedy is so good if it's done right.
Turns
Like
out people hurting themselves. It's time plus what is it?
everybody loves Schadenfreude. I don't care who you are. I don't care how pious you are.
Yeah.
Listen, there's something really funny about watching someone fall down some stairs.
Yeah. When it's not, especially when it's not real.
Yeah, especially when
I
it's
think
just
like
absurd and over the top and dramatized.
I think there's a disconnect, and people don't understand the difference between an actor falling downstairs and or somebody accidentally doing it who stands up at the end, preferably, versus you pushing a friend down some stairs and calling it a prank. Those
Yes.
are very different,
Yes.
and the difference is malicious.
Yeah, the difference is intent versus accident.
Yeah. One of them is an intent, odd for acting. We effectively have an intentional accident. The real life version is just an accident, and the other one is you're an asshole.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that matters, and that's
that
why
matters
pranks.
a lot.
That's why prank channels suck, and I hope they die in a tire fire by and large. And why? Yes, I'm serious. Don't call me Shirley. Will forever be one of my fucking favorite lines.
I mean, even just the little things like smoking or non-smoking. And smoking is tickets on fire.
Yeah.
Like,
This is the predecessor, I think, or one of the byproducts to like Police Squad and Naked Gun, where it's just taking turn of phrase and fucking with it, taking the expected and just turning it on its head a little bit, and just doing little things where it's wordplay as a physical gag, which is just fucking awesome.
yeah, it's and everyone is so kind of weirdly stoic and doesn't lean into it being funny that it's hilarious.
I mean, that's why I think, for my money, Leslie Nielsen might be the best comedic actor of all time, is because he was a
he just
trained...
does a perfect straight face.
Yeah, he does a perfect straight face, and he was a trained, like, serious actor. Like, he did serious films, was on serious TV for, like, a long time, and so he can just deliver these banger lines
Just
without even...
deadpan as fuck.
Yeah. He did one of the... Oh, my God. So he has one of the coolest running gags when he would come on talk TV shows, because he got bored of them, is he just bought a fart machine, put it in his back pocket, and would sit there and just middle of the conversation be like, oh, so about your upcoming movie? He goes, yes, my upcoming... And just like, just look at him dead in the face and just like nothing. And they're just like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, I really think I brought this to the... And the ghost is like looking around like, what the fuck's going on with this interview? And he's just like being very sincere. Fucking metal.
Amazing. What a lad. The other one in terms of great slapstick that hasn't, and I should know, because we watch it every fucking year.
Goddamn right we do. Christmas,
Goddamn
baby.
right we do. Home Alone. Home Alone is still funny as fuck. It's just, again, dumb slapstick. It's why the Three Stooges is still funny. Like,
Fact.
yeah, like just Home Alone is just especially. I mean, the iconic bit is just the last like 25 minutes where it's just Marv and Harry
Just dying 1,000 deaths and somehow standing up.
Like, listen, I have seen them step on micro machines dozens of times. It's still funny. Like, it's seeing them get hit with a fucking paint can in the mouth, hilarious. Like,
and deadly.
yeah, no, like that is they are dead.
This man might be immortal.
Yeah. And just hearing, oh, Harry, you're missing some teeth.
Forgot about that one.
And I mean, the fucking creme de la creme is the absolute banger of a scream that Marv lets out when he has a tarantula placed on his face. I couldn't replicate it if you paid me.
Yeah.
Like, you could offer me $1 million to replicate that scream, and I couldn't. I'd be motivated as fuck. I would try. No shot. That scream is one of a kind. It's beautiful. It's so authentic. It's so terrible. I love it. Like,
Uh...
call the cops from a treehouse. Like, it's so funny.
We're the wet
It's
bandits. Fucking so stupid.
why why are your shoes up? Why are you dressed like a chicken? Like, I could quote the whole scene. It still makes me laugh. Like,
So fucking great.
it's so good.
Uh,
Like, and even the little things in that movie, they're still hilarious. Like the fact that his uncle is just the fucking worst.
oh yeah.
That he's stealing his silverware
Stealing
on the
silverware
airplane.
on the fucking airplane. Jesus Christ.
He's just awful. Like the constant use of the movie, like angels with dirty souls or
Oh
whatever.
my god, I love that.
Every
Also,
time.
the fact that they shot that, they could have gotten a movie from like the
They made
30s.
their own.
Instead, they make their own 2-minute movie.
Like the fact that everybody hits the statue when they pull up to the house. Every time, it gets knocked off its It gets knocked off its plinth like 6 times in the movie for no reason.
So
Like,
great.
yeah.
It's so small. Also, the like Fuller easy on the fucking
Pepsi.
Pepsi and just looks at Macaulay Culkin and just gives this like really weird smile.
Like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Also, the best part is that's his actual younger brother.
Yeah.
That's Kieran Culkin. Oh god.
This parking ticket for Santa on Christmas Eve. What's next? Rabies shots for the Easter Bunny? Like, it's just funny. It
It's
just
great.
bangs.
Yeah.
Like, slapstick humor and just good writing, and it holds up. Like, it's so good.
Oh, and what else is so good is go into an ad break. See y'all in a bit.
Have you ever thought, I really, really want to be humming the same song for weeks to annoy my coworker? Well, let's go see some classic animated kids movies. 'Cause you're surely going to be taken hostage by your 5-year-old as they repeatedly demand they've got to see it. And then deal with them lamenting how they really want all the merchandise as you're walking through the stores. And it's everywhere, isn't it? Not to mention, those songs are going to follow you home too. You're not safe. Such studios as Disney and DreamWorks printing these things, you're bound to leave with an insidious and infectious earworm that you're gonna be humming. All because your kids never stop singing it in the shower. But hey, at least the creators know you're being forced and coerced by those little anchor biters, and they throw in some jokes just to make it bearable. Welcome back, folks.
We hath returned.
So, Isaac, is there anything you would want to recommend to the people this week, or anything you watched recently that's stuck out to you?
I didn't watch it recently. I've watched it many times though, and I was driving back with my friend last night from my awesome victory, and whatever reason I was reminded of one of my favorite scenes from the movie Snatch. It's just a banger of a movie. We've
That's
got
the expression "hungry as a pig."
that's actually one of the scenes that I was thinking about. We ended up something.
That monologue bangs.
That monologue
It's so
slaps
threatening.
so hard. God. So the movie Snatch is tremendous. It was the second movie by Guy Ritchie. Yeah, second.
Yeah, because Lock, Stock was
Lock, Stock is first. Fucking tremendous. I think it's like the best sophomore performance I've seen by any director ever. Well, maybe Quentin Tarantino's better with Pulp Fiction. I don't know, but it's so damn good. It again holds up over time and has one of the better villains in Bricktop. And the scene my brother is referring to, where he terrifies a man by just informing him how much a pig can eat.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, turns out. But it was that scene, and the other scene that I'm always reminded of is, you know what Nemesis means? It's fucking awesome monologues. Two of the best monologues. Also, fun fact about this movie, if you go and watch it, and either of these scenes, the main villain has these thick as shit glasses that look like they could stop a bullet. And that's actually the reason he got the part. And those are his actual glasses. Because when he went to the second round of auditions, he lost his contacts. And so he just grabbed his old glasses that he had lying around so he could
Yeah,
see
because
the
you want to
lines.
see.
And he
Turns
came
out.
in and guy almost hired him on the spot. And he goes, "Sorry about the glasses. I'll get my contact back." He goes, "No, no, no, no. You are keeping those glasses on the whole goddamn time. Those things are fucking amazing."
The classic fucking BCGs.
Yeah. And yeah, that he's just one aspect of the character or one aspect of the movie. The whole entire movie is like, a parade of awesome actors just chewing up the scenery and, moving around between storylines that occasionally
Protection.
intersect.
From who? The Germans?
Is that Germans? Yeah. You've got Jason Statham in his second movie, I think, ever, in his first lead. You've got
Got Brad Pitt in a way you can't understand.
Dogs.
It's just fucking pikey.
Just bangers all the way down. So
Yeah.
good. It if you like it, it spawned many a British crime film that you can't understand a word that either the villain or the protagonist says. They came from Snatch for sure. What about you, bro? What you got?
So I got
The
two
recommends.
things because I spent a lot of time on a plane. Uh,
Two.
two embarrassment of riches. One is The Martian. I'd never watched it. I'd heard pretty good things about it.
leader.
Not that one.
Oh.
With Matt Damon.
Matt
Um,
Damon.
it's such a cool movie.
So
Um,
fucking dope.
It's so good, and it's such an interesting thing because there's no antagonist. There is no villain. Nobody deliberately throwing monkey wrenches into the plot. Nobody arbitrarily creating conflict because they're an asshole.
Just
It's just
space being a shithead.
yeah. It's literally fucking Matt Damon is left behind and doesn't want to die on Mars, and
What
so
a
he's
bitch.
just yeah. So he's just trying to keep himself sane and fed, and he's just troubleshooting all of these issues that
Or in
keep
his
coming up.
words, sciencing the shit out of it.
Yeah, it's like to science the shit out of it. And like there's so much it's so good. Like and it's really interesting because Matt Damon's character, he tries to like like force himself to effectively be happy and upbeat. And at times he's not.
Mm.
And those really hit home because it's just a real it's amazing how entertained and enthralled you can be when there's just one dude on camera talking to you. Because that's like 65% of the film is
Yep.
just Matt Damon on his own talking at the camera and problem solving. That's it. That is like literally I would wager 60% of the movie.
That's
Like there's a decent chunk that has to do with NASA and them like doing the logistics of getting him back,
Yeah.
which is really cool. And like that, but like both sides of it are so cool, and you feel like these little victories, and you feel the little bit of loss that comes with it. Like when he finally can reestablish communication, and he troubleshoots a way to get a message back to NASA that he's still fucking alive.
Yeah.
Like the little things like that are just they're so cool when they come to fruition, and you feel like the excitement. It's really cool, and like it builds to such a good crescendo at the end with trying to actually get him back. Spoilers. I mean, that's the whole fucking plot is
Yeah.
getting him back. Like,
You don't I don't think at any point you think that's not what's gonna happen though.
no.
I think
it's
of
just,
all
it's
spoilers
so,
that's the
it's,
most obvious.
Yeah, but it's you watch it because seeing the hurdles and dealing with the problem solving
Yeah.
is so fascinating and so
And just
fun
like
to
all
watch.
the acting, all the scene, it's
Yeah, and just
so
it's
fucking
bangers.
beautiful.
Like just
And also has a killer soundtrack.
has a great soundtrack, has a phenomenal cast. Everyone just does their role well.
Yeah.
Like, full stop. And it doesn't. The other thing I like too is it doesn't dumb down the science. Like the
No,
only
they yeah. I believe so it
the
comes from
only
a
thing
book.
it does, and it's by the same guy who wrote the book Artemis, which is about a moon colony, and he sciences the shit out of everything, so it feels pretty authentic.
Yeah, I
The
think
only thing he got wrong,
Oh.
ironically, because there's no way he could know, the only thing he got wrong is the atmosphere on Mars is too thin for the storm at the start to be that problematic. There isn't enough air to like
That's
knock
funny.
shit over. Yeah, the atmosphere is too thin. You couldn't knock over a fucking spaceship if you wanted to.
That's
Like,
funny.
yeah, that. But like past that, everything else on point.
That's wild.
Yeah, it like if you ever want to read, because I've read Artemis. I haven't read The Martian, but I've read Artemis, and it's crazy the amount of detail and scientific research he puts in. Like, yeah, so it's very on brand with his writing. I don't remember the author's name, but it guy guy's a pleasure to read too. I don't know if he's written more beyond those two books. Anyway, the other one that is
Andy Were, by the way.
okay. Thank you. The other thing I read a lot of on the way back is a book called A Little Hatred, or A Little Bit of Hatred. Joe Abercrombie has a very, very specific niche.
Uh-huh.
So many things claim to be grimdark, and they don't fucking commit to the bit. Like, they let morality win in the end. They let the good guy fucking trap. No, 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 no. Joe Abercrombie fucking full sends on everything is miserable, everyone is shitty, we are all crabs clawing each other back to the bottom. What is optimism? You're a fool. Like,
You dumb bitch.
dumb motherfucker. Like, it is insane the amount of fucking suffering that this man puts people through. And it's so captivating. His writing is outstanding. But like it just one of his main points of view in his first series, and it was a prominent character in his second. This is the second trilogy. Is this guy who was fucking tortured mercilessly as a prisoner of war? Like in his early days, so he used to be like this young idealistic soldier, and then he had that fucking cut away from him because he's a cripple now.
Yay!
Yeah, he used to be this
Fun.
legendary fencer, and now he's like can barely lift a fucking sword. So yeah, he's resentful as fuck. He is bitter as hell. He is a nightmare. Like, and there's so many people like that where just like idealism and optimism are just fucking punished because you're a rube. But it's so well written. It's so good. I hate it. Like it's and so the second series is like basically during the Industrial Revolution,
Mhm.
and it's one of the interesting ones where I can see a clear through line for modern politics coming out in his writing, because a lot of it and one of the big points of discord in the book is about worker rights and worker compensation,
Mhm.
which Industrial Revolution that tracks, because those working conditions are nightmare fuel. Um, it's like
Alright
that
then.
is one of the big points of contention. And it's so interesting because one of the things fielded, and like one of the characters who's the prince is like, but what if we just paid them better and like established a minimum wage and did this thing, and all the fucking aristocrats and owners and shit are like, but then they'll ask for more,
Yeah.
so they won't. And it's just like, oh Christ, like everyone's an asshole here. It's so the people, because they feel unheard and disrespected, they burn a few places down. Yeah, it's crazy. It's so good. His writing is so good. I hate it. You got any last things to recommend to the people before we call it?
I have been just jamming to, and it's probably gonna get me to watch it, especially now that I think it's on a streaming service. Wings of Time by Tame Impala from the Dungeons and Dragons film, which I've only heard great things about. Kind of missed it in theaters. Probably gonna actually just watch it later today. But Wings of Time, I one love Tame Impala.
Sure.
Tame Impala. One of the only issues I occasionally have with Tame Impala, and other people do too, is that he kind of just does what Josh Homme used to do with Queens of the Stone Age, where he'd have songs that go on for 10 minutes because fuck you, and like I'm having
Because I
fun.
can.
Yeah, I'm having fun, and this is my, I have a recording studio that'll let me do it, so I'm gonna do it. This one, because it was for a film, they had to like cut it down to size, so it's only 2.5 minutes. So you just get the good bits without a lot of like random meandering at the like usually after the good bits happen and his stuff. So you don't
Yeah.
have to like skip to the next song. You just let it play all the way through. It's so much fun. I love Tame Impala. The sound, the vibes are just great, and it's just got great energy to it. It's a really good motivation song, picker upper song. It does all the things you want a song to do for for me. It doesn't ever make you think deep, but there's plenty of other songs that'll do that. This one's great banger.
Sure.
What about you? Any games you've been
I
clicking on?
I have a little game. I love the kind of Brotato, Vampire Survivors, that kind of niche of game.
As you've played like
I
6 of them this last year.
well, we're adding a seventh. So I found out it helps that they're all like $5. It's really easy to just pick up. Like, what am I out $5? Oh no!
Yeah,
Like,
worth the
who
risk.
cares? So I picked up a game called Bio Prototype, which is it has, and the ones I like most have their own novel spin on it. And so it does the kind of wave-based thing like Brotato, which I like. I like the kind of break that provides. But it does a very interesting thing with how you play because it does sequencing. So you have a series of organs that trigger or act on certain conditions being met. And so the whole thing you do is you problem solve and you basically rig up a cascade of effects to trigger.
Hmm.
It's really interesting. It's granted, whoever made the game, they need to work on their tutorial. They need to work on their explanation for mechanics because it's not good. But once you piece together how it works, it's really interesting and it's really fun because it's like dynamic problem solving and trying to upgrade and min max with what organs you have available and what compatibilities they have.
Mm,
It's really cool. It's got one of the more unique kind of systems to it out of any of these I've played. So I like it.
nice. Well, on that nice note, I do believe that's our episode. So thank you for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this, please feel free to
Like,
comment
share,
and subscribe.
but don't forget new episodes of Super Pros Bros come out the first and third Saturday of every month.
Bye.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say pros, bros, super?
I don't know. I I don't know. I stronking out. Call a bondolence.